Hello and welcome back to Star Victoria channel. So today I'm going to show you how to draft a shoulder princess dart pattern, and the measurements I'll be working with are: shoulder is 15 inches, round armhole is 16 inches, round bust is 40 inches, bust point is 11 and a half, nipple to nipple length is 9 inches, under bust height is 15 and a half, round under bust is 32 inches, round waist is 34 inches. My front half length is 19 inches and the back half length is 16 inches. My front half length is longer than my back half length by 3 inches. Okay? Please don't be confused. If you are the type that use the same half length for your back and your front, I would suggest that you tie a rope around your waist from your front, from your shoulder measure down to where the rope is, and from your back, from your shoulder measure down to where the rope is. You will find out that your front is longer than your back because of the bust we have at the front. Okay, it can be longer by 4 inches, 3 inches, 2 inches, even 1 inch, depending on how busty you are or how busty the person you're making the garment for is. Okay, so I've gone ahead to mark out some lines. I'm almost done with the pattern and I will explain. So I mark out this line. This line is my starting line and it's also serving as my shoulder line. Okay, I divided the paper into two using the biggest part of my upper body, which is my bust. My bust divided by 4 is 10 inches plus 2 inches will give us 12 inches. So I use 12 inches to divide the pattern paper into two. You can see the line. So this side is center back and this side is center front. I also mark out my zipper allowance of 1 inch, as you can see. Okay, so from this shoulder to here is my back waist. Okay, that's my half length for my back and it's 16 inches. Remember I mentioned that earlier. So from the shoulder to my front half length is 19 inches, and this is my under bust, which is the height is 15 and a half, and my bust point is 11 and a half. That's the bust point line, under bust line, and my waist line. Okay, this is my chest line. I'm going to explain how I derive my chest line. I would suggest that you go back and watch my previous video on how to draft a basic body pattern. You understand better. So next thing I did was to mark out my shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement is 15 inches divided by 2 will give us 7.5. So I measured 7.5 on this line and I marked. At that point, I came down by 1 inch. Okay, so I mark out my neck. My neck for the center back is 3 inches width and 1 inch depth. So I connect the 1 inch drop down to my neck. Okay, coming to the front, I use 3 inches by 3 inches. That is 3 inches width and 3 inches depth for my neck. This neck measurement is constant for an average person. Okay, so this is my center. Okay, coming to the center back again. From that 1 inch drop down, I measured my armhole. My armhole, round armhole, is 16 inches divided by 2 will give us 8 inches. So I mark out my 8 inches. At that point of 8 inches, I mark out a horizontal line, as you can see, and I extend the horizontal line to my center front. That is how I derive my chest line. Okay, so coming to the center front, I came down by 1 inch to form my shoulder slant. At my back, remember, I came down by 1 inch. At my front, I came down by 1.5. Now, if you have watched my previous video on how to draft a basic bodice pattern, you will see that I came down by 1 inch for my center front slope, and I came down by 1 inch for my center back slope as well. But here I came down by 1.5. Now the reason is that there are some clothes you make. You will notice that the joint, that's the shoulder line, is going backwards. It's as if your back is dragging the line backwards. Now, if you encounter such, I would advise that you use 1.5 for your center front and use 1 inch for your center back slope. Okay, but if you are okay with that 1 inch, you are not having any issues, please go ahead and use 1 inch for your center front and your center back slope. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to get the midpoint of this line, and I'm going to mark, and this is it. Next, I'm going to mark out my round bust measurement on my chest line. The round bust measurement is 40 inches divided by 4. 4 will give us 10 inches. So I'm going to mark 10 inches on my chest line, please. So I'm going to do the same at my center front. I'm going to mark 10 inches on that chest line. Okay, so next I'm going to use my French curve and connect this my point to my shoulder tip and to my chest line. Okay, so using my French curve, I will do that now. Remember, I came in by 0.5 at that midpoint. I came in by 0.5 and I mark. So at that 0.5 mark, that I will connect to this shoulder tip and to the bust measurement. Okay. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Okay, this is my center back armhole curve. Coming to the center front, on my chest line, I'm going to go up by 3 inches, and I will mark, and I will go in by 3/4. Okay, at my center back, I got a midpoint, and I came in by 0.5. But here I'm not getting any midpoint. I'm not working with the midpoint. What I will do is, for my chest line, I will go up by 3 inches. At the point of that 3 inches, I'll go in by 3/4 and mark. I hope you're not confused. So I'm going to connect this point to my shoulder tip and connect to my bust measurement. Okay, using my French curve again, I'm going to connect. Okay, so this is it. You see? So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark out my waist measurement. My waist is 34 inches divided by 2 will give us 8.5. So at my center back, I'm going to be marking 8.5, and I'm going to add 1 inch that allowance to make it 9.5. Okay, so this is the 9.5, and I will connect to my chest line. That is where I have my bust measurements. So this is it. So over to the center front, 8.5. I'm going to add 2 inches that allowance. I'm using 2 inches for my center front. For my center back, I use 1 inch. For my center front, I'm using 2 inches. 2 inches plus 8.5. The 8.5, remember, is I got that from dividing my round waist by 4, which is 8.5. Then 2 inches. That allowance will give us 10.5. I hope I'm not too fast. Okay, so I'm going to connect this to the chest line. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to mark my darts. To mark our dart, we'll be using our nipple to nipple measurement, which is 9 inches divided by 2 will give us 4.5. So I'm going to mark 4.5 here, and 4.5 on my chest line at my center back. Okay, so I'll connect the 2 points to form a straight line. Okay, our dart allowance is 2 inches, so I'm going to be sharing, sorry, our dart allowance for the center back is 1 inch, so I'm going to be marking 0.5 on each side of the line. Okay, so at the chest line, I'm going to come down by 0.5 inch. So I'm going to connect this point to this point and also this to this to form our back darts, our waist darts. Okay, so this is it. You can come down by 1 inch if you wish from the chest line. So we are done with the back. So coming to the center front now, I'm going to mark my nipple to nipple measurement. Remember, it's 9 inches divided by 2 will give us 4.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 4.5 inches on the waistline. I'll mark 4.5 on my under bust line, 4.5 on my bust points line, and I'll connect the points to form a straight line. I'm explaining this way because of the newbies, those people learning pattern drafting for the first time. Please, so bear with me. So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark my darts. Remember, I am using 2 inches for my front, so I'm going to mark 1 inch here and 1 inch on the side. Okay, coming to my underbust, I'm going to tighten the underbust. For me to tighten the underbust, I will divide my round underbust by 4 inches, which will give me 8 inches. Okay, so I'm going to mark the 8 inches this way and measure what is left. What I have here is 2.5 inches. So I'm going to be dividing the 2.5 inches among this dart leg, that is this dart line. So what I'll have here, I'm going to mark 1/1/4 here and 1/1/4 here. Okay, so I'm going to connect this point to the point on the underbust this way and this to this. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is to mark my bust curve. So I'm going to place my French curve this way and connect to my bust point line. I'm trying to find a perfect curve for my bust. Okay, so this is it. So I'll do the same this side. Okay. Next is to mark out my bust darts. Remember that our front is longer than the back by 3 inches. So what I'm going to do is to place my tape on my bust point line and I'll go down by 3 inches and connect to this bust point line. Okay? So this is it. Okay, so this is our bust dart. So the next thing I'm going to do is to move this dart to the shoulder. That's the purpose of drafting this pattern, remember. So to do that, I'm going to find the midpoint of this my shoulder slant. And what I have here is 4 3/4. So I'm going to divide the 4 3/4 to get the midpoint. So I'm going to connect this point to my bust point, line this way. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is to close up this dart and transfer to this shoulder, to my shoulder, okay? But for me to do that, I have to open up this line. Then I'll close this dart and it will move to this shoulder. Okay, and when I close the darts, you will notice that our sides will align. So let me do that now. I'm going to cut this open. I'm going to cut this one open first. So using my paper scissors, I will open up this line like so. And I'll stop here. See where I stopped? You see? Okay. I'm separating the center front from the center back to enable me cut out this darts. Okay. So we have cut out the dart. So I'm going to close this dart now. Watch what I'm going to do with my tape. Okay, so I'm going to close now. You see, I've moved the darts to the shoulder. So I'll use my tape and close it properly. Okay. We are almost done. Oh, yeah. So watching this side, you will see that there is a shortage here. This line from the chest line is going in and the line from under bust is going out. So what I'm going to do is to extend this line to meet the chest line. And we are good. See? So it's nothing to worry, okay? So that is it. So I'm going to cut out this dart. This dart is going off, so I'm going to cut it out. So the dart is off. Next, I'm going to cut out this excess. We don't need it. So I've gone ahead to add 0.5 seam allowance in case I'm making a peplum or I want to attach to, I'm making a gown. I can use it to join to the down part of the gown or to the peplum. So I'm going to cut out this part now. Another thing I want to do before I'll continue cutting, I'm going to add a 0.5 seam allowance around my armhole curve to join to the sleeve and also around the shoulder to hold the back shoulder and the front shoulder together, okay? And I'm not going to add any seam allowance by the side, and I won't add to this side. When I'm drafting, when I'm transferring to my fabric, I will add 0.5 for this side and also for this side, and maybe 1.5 or 2 inches for my side seam, okay? So I'll go now and add 0.5 around my armhole, shoulder, and also on this part as well, okay? So I'm going to cut out this excess. We don't need this. Okay, I've gone ahead to add a 0.5 seam allowance around the armhole and also on the shoulder. You can see. So I'll go ahead now and cut out the excess that we don't need. Okay. So coming here to the back, you can leave your back this way, just the waist that. But if you don't want, or maybe you have a particular style that you want to make, you can go ahead and find your midpoint and connect to this dart and open it up, okay? So I'm going to cut out the back pattern. Okay, I need to add allowance around my armhole and on the shoulder before I continue. So let me quickly do that. Okay, I'm done adding the allowance and I've cut out the excess. You can see the allowance around the armhole, around the shoulder. There's no allowance at the side. When I'm transferring to my fabric, I'll add that. And there is no allowance at the down part to join to the maybe to put on or anything. I've gone ahead to cut out the allowance I leave for this. So when I'm transferring to my fabric, I'll add the allowance as well. So I want to quickly show you another thing. Now look at, for those that be wondering, how will our side back align with our side front? See, by the time we close our dart, that's a dart of 3 inches. Remember, the front is longer than the back half length by 3 inches. So we'll measure the dart, close it up, transfer to the shoulder, and see our back, our side back and our side front is now equal. You see? So this is our shoulder princess dart. Please, if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment. If you are yet to subscribe, please go ahead and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and see you in my next video. Bye.